Some of the best ways to learn are through making mistakes, but we don't always want to learn the hard way. That's where testing comes into the strategy. Our sales connections expert, Shari Pash, joins us to talk about testing the waters. Welcome back to the show, Shari.
Hey, thanks, Julie. It's always good to be back. And I'm excited to talk about test the waters. It sounds kind of intriguing, doesn't it?
It does, especially because we just came out of a segment where our marketing panel was sharing all of the things that they've done wrong in marketing and, of course, how to correct those. But we'd also ultimately like to avoid making big blunders. So when you talk about testing the waters, what do you mean by that?
You know, in sales, we're always presenting, we're always sharing solutions, right? So when I say test the waters, it kind of means that we need to check every so often to make sure what we're sharing and what we think are solutions to our client or customer or member, that it's relevant to them, right? We can just be going along and we're nodding and they're nodding and everybody's happy, but we're not being relevant at all. So we have to test that water to make sure that we're being relevant. That's what I mean by that.
Right. So are you even providing a solution to their problem, right? For one instance?
Exactly, right? So testing the waters is really kind of one step in your sales process, but you know, it's one, Julie, I have found through the teams I've worked with, my clients now, it's one step we often forget. We're just worried about learning what's important, finding a solution, trying to get to the close, and we've got to remember to slow it down and let's, put the pause on and test our information to make sure it's really being relevant to them. So yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about that process, Shari. What's the first thing we do when we want to test and make sure that we're actually hitting the mark?
Well, one thing I say, the step or two before has to be working, right? We have to make sure that we have used some discovery questions, which I think we covered in an earlier episode. We want to make sure we are finding out what's important to them so that when we offer a solution, it's actually a solution that's relevant to them, right? So now's the time to offer that test question. If you want to give an example of that, we want to make sure to listen for a yes and listen or for a no, right? So an example might be, you might be somebody who offers a leadership program to your clients, or I work with a lot of nonprofits who offer leadership training. So we might have asked that question, how are you developing leaders in your company? That's that inquiry question, right? And, we want to be able to talk about, we offer an 8-week leadership program that allows your employee to grow skills that they can bring back to your office or company. And now here's the question. Would this help with your goal of growing and retaining your leadership team? That's the test water question we want to ask. Does that make sense, Julie?
It does. Okay, so we've asked that kind of testing the waters question.
Yeah.
What if you're told no, but you still know that you offer a good solution? Now what?
That's where I think it goes back to preparing for it, being confident. We talked about that in an earlier session as well. So you don't want that no might be there, but we want to find that solution. And one is practicing that solution as well, right? So when we gain that yes, that's important, but we also want to get those no's out of the way. So when you hear that no, we want to know that we've heard it, because that's the part we can overcome now. If we didn't overcome that no's hanging there. So when you go to close, they're thinking of that no that's in their head. So it's really important that you've discovered what's important to them so you can adjust those solutions. But a lot of it is being confident and being prepared and having these practice sessions. We had an earlier segment on managing objections. So we know that we've got to anticipate what these objections, what these no's might be, and start to overcome them and have it practiced, right?
We have to brace ourselves, that's for sure, because no one likes rejection. So,
Exactly. Let me give you another story example, okay, Julie? How about, say if you're a printing company, for example, and you have a service that you offer delivery and pickup for, right? Maybe you do that as a service you're offering. And think about this for anybody who's watching that can connect to their type of service. But they might say, how much time are you taking out of your week or your staff people to drop off and pick up printing? And that's where you want to say we offer complimentary pickup and delivery. The test question again, Julie, would this time saver allow you or your team to get more done in your day or week? Get the yes, get the no.
So I'm still stuck on that no, Shari. How do we start to condition ourselves for that potential rejection, especially knowing what statistics say that we can expect to get a no 7 or more times before we actually get a yes, and that a no isn't really a no. So how do we condition ourselves to hear that.
That's right, exactly. You didn't get a no yet, correct? So it's still, you still have that possibility. And I think it's still, you condition yourself by thinking through and what are all the things that you uncovered already in your process. Now, that's why I say it's a process. We have to have done that discovery process so that you know enough of the yeses that are important to them. So when you get that no, you can minimize it. It might just simply be a misunderstanding, but we know that when that no comes, sometimes it's real and you can't overcome that. So you've got to be prepared that you have done the discovery solid and you have 3 other areas that you know you can get a yes on, 1 other area that you can get a yes on. Because if you don't have any other yes agreement areas, solution solved or problem solved with a solution, that will come into conflict for you to close that business. So for me, it's you've got to do your process. That's what I love about so many of my clients. We work with those tools to create. You have to have a discovery worksheet that has depth to it, that allows you to really dig in to what your client, your member is needing, so that when that no comes, you've got something else you can talk about.
Absolutely. And Shari, I'm sure that worksheet comes in handy because we're not talking just about the sales team either. We think about sales as, if you have sales in your title, but really it's everyone, including front office staff.
That's right, because everyone in your company, everyone in your business, be it 2 people or 20 people or 200 people, are representatives. They're all selling. So you want to create these tools that your receptionist can pick that phone up. He or she can ask a question or 2, so they can also help move people from a no to a yes. So sales is everyone's job, even though if it's not in their title, but it's up to you as the business, the manager, the owner, that you give these tools to your business, to your employees, so everybody can act on your behalf in sales.
Shari, so insightful as always. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us. To see more from Shari, head to WLHA.com and click the link for Sales Connections.